Clint Turner doesn't chase clean deals. He digs where it's messy. Probate court, broken titles, dead owners. From industrial flips to homes with no roof, he turns legal chaos into generational cash flow. This is the Playback Highlights. 5 moments that prove distress isn't the risk, it's the reward.
We bought a industrial tract, just high level. We bought a piece of industrial land in Dallas, the Dallas zip code, like a 6 acres, beautiful area. It was just this prime deal. Bought it for $200K and sold it for $800K. That's like the high level of it, with very little other than putting the $200,000 in it. Like it wasn't a straightforward deal, but that was it. It was that. Never touch the land, list it on the market and sell it. That was the largest spread I've created on a deal. I sent this woman like $33,000 just a wire transfer, and she signed a deed. And I bought a third of the property.
No one wanted the mess. Clint wired $33,000, solved the air puzzle, and flipped it for $600,000. It wasn't clean, but it was the biggest win of his entire career.
A property that has an encumbrance isn't going to make it through a traditional sale process, right? So if we have a property that has, let's just name a couple, okay? It has some sort of like ownership, heirship issue, okay? Grandpa died, will wasn't probated, something happened, and now there's a person on the deed who's dead, and the title company is trying to issue title policy, do all the traditional things. Not going to work, okay? So that property is encumbered. Maybe there's things that are landlocked, deed restricted, tax lawsuits. Both taxes and tax lawsuits are 2 different buckets. General lawsuits, liens and judgments. There's all sorts of things that lead to a property being encumbered.
Everyone wants the polished deals. Clint wants the ones covered in legal dust. He hunts friction, and that's where the real upside lives.
Somebody died without a will, without a husband, and without children. That's a unique problem, right? That's a unique problem, but it's something that happens. And no will, no husband, no children means there's nowhere for the assets to flow. There's nowhere for her belongings to go. And so that is a specific type of encumbrance you could look for, is people that have passed away with either very challenging lineages to solve or with no clear direct path of heirship. And so that was the problem in both of these deals. So somebody died and the interest in the property went back up through the family tree. It's called the intestate succession, but it goes back up to the family tree and out to the living heirs. So it goes up to her parents, out to her parents' siblings, and down those trees. And anybody who's living is going to get a fractional piece of that deal. It doesn't happen that often, and it often happens on properties that are less valuable, because more valuable properties, typically people like pay the attorney $2,000 to make sure this doesn't happen. But every now and then, and actually there's a lot more of those out there than you'd think. I could go off track for a long time, so I'm not going to. But both those deals look the same way. We had to figure out what happened, right? We had to build a family tree, to put it very simply. What's the family tree from this person up and out through their lineage? We had to talk to family members. We had to confirm, is this really her mom's sister, or is it her half sister? What is it? And that was the solution to both of those deals. One was a lot more difficult and made us 15 or 20 grand. And the other one was still difficult, but it made us 600,000. And so I think there's a lot of discrepancy you can see in these deals.
When heirs multiply, so do the signatures. Clint's not afraid of a messy family tree. He climbs it for the equity.
Harris County, Texas, where you could go live in. You could stay there and you could do $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 deals forever. And here's why. They have really good public data access. So in the state of Texas and in a lot of states, when you have a foreclosure, like a civil foreclosure on an asset because of unpaid taxes, it has to pass through a legal proceeding, right? There's constitutional rights you have, so the government can't take your property. So they have to sue you for it and get access to it and sell it through due process. And they have to make the excess funds available to you. There's all sorts of stuff that goes on. But it has to go through a lawsuit. That's the important thing. And it's public record. Okay. So anything that's been if you go to a website right now, there's a couple of them, mvba.com, lgbs.com. These are law firms that represent most of the big counties in the state of Texas. That's like the two. And then there's a lot of small ones, but 80% of the stuff goes through them. They just post the tax sales every month on their websites. So it's not rocket science to find those. Those have competition though. If you go one step back and you look in the county records for properties that have tax foreclosures, you can find the stuff that goes on their website for auction 6, 12, 18 months before it actually goes on the website for auction, because that's how long the lawsuits take, sometimes longer. And so there's a slew of these deals that are just like right under the nose. And there's so many of these things. Here's another one. Notice of defaults filed in public record. So if you can track public record, notice of default on a mortgage, it's like a civil procedural thing, at least in the state of Texas, that a mortgage trustee has to do before they can start the foreclosure process. We all know how to look up land records. If you can search for notice of default, that's often what is a pre-foreclosure list on PropStream or places like that. It's a public land record that's a notice of default, which is cool, but we wanted to go one step deeper. And so we really got into the court data, which is super messy and hard to make sense of. And that's where we found our niche.
While others scroll Zillow, Clint scrapes court PDFs. This is digital prospecting, mining six-figure leads from lawsuits no one else is watching.
I bought half of a house in Washington, D.C. for $15,000. I don't know when I'll see it, but I know it's worth about $300K. And for them to get it through probate and sell it, they're going to need my 50%. It's a mess. I don't know if I'll see that money for a year or two or longer, probably like potentially longer with how it's developing. But I bought $150K of equity for $15K. Seems like a good bet to have if it takes 1 year or 2 years or longer, right?
Yeah.
So it's super dependent on brain damage, money, and what's the likelihood we have of success.
Clint's deals aren't simple. They're strategic. He doesn't just close, he repositions. Every messy case, a creative win. In a market where easy deals get crowded fast, Clint Turner plays where others fear to. He sees opportunity in distress and profit in the problems. This was the Playback highlights. Save this one. It's a roadmap for six-figure flips no one else sees coming. Hey land fans, tired of sellers ghosting faster than your ex? Get ready. Our friend Ajay Sharma has created the ultimate program to transform your acquisition game. Land Closers Academy brings you weekly call reviews, a powerhouse community, and the proven system for turning leads into signed contracts. And check this out. Sign up now at olfclosers.com and you'll get my personal call review template that's crushing it with both my team and my coaching clients. This is the exact system we use to level up acquisition managers and consistently grow their closing skills. It's a game changer for managing your team. Ready to close more deals? Head to olfclosers.com and let's get you crushing it. Because the only thing getting ghosted should be your old closing rate. Boom.